What a strange card. All the Unks get to win, except the one everybody wants to win. The card was filled with some very strange matchmaking and some wacky outcomes. The bout order was subpar. The crowd would boo every single clinch and every single takedown. But still, the card somehow delivered. There have been a lot of people talking about how close Holloway vs. Poirier 3 really was, and I think it ends up somewhere in the middle. 50-45, while sounding harsh initially, isn't insane, but you also have to acknowledge that Dustin was partially in most of these rounds, and that not every 10-9 is built the same. For example, these scorecards, on first glance, look really bad, like horrendous. But after rewatching the fight a couple of times, I have some thoughts, so let's get into it. Round 1, it's going to sound really weird, but it's the thing that stuck out to me the most about Holloway's game plan. He fought almost sort of passive, if that makes any sense. He didn't really move forward for long periods of time. Max was really focused on holding the center, and then if he got pushed back, he would push forward just enough to land back up into the center. He didn't really push Dustin Poirier back a whole lot. There's a couple of big moments where he would land a blitz, and Dustin would go into the fence or whatever, but those are few and far between. There's like 4 or 5 of those throughout the 25 minutes. He got a knockdown off of a straight right hand, and then the secondary knockdown when Poirier tried to stand up. Very clear first round for Holloway, and everything was looking really bad. Round 2, Poirier's kind of getting pieced up on the outside, and then Holloway lands a wicked 3-punch combo. Stumbles him, and gets a lot of shots up against the fence, and ground and pound as well when Poirier goes to shoot a takedown, and it kind of fails, and Holloway ends up on top. The final minute of the second, Poirier has made it up back to the feet. He threw some weird up kicks, and then it finally worked, and he got back up, and then he lands that right hook on the temple and knocks Max Holloway down for the 3rd time in 3 fights. He jumped the ghillie, and I squealed like a little girl, okay? And everybody else did too, don't lie to me. Everybody saw it, and they thought, oh my god, this is it, this is the moment. And then it just didn't materialize. Holloway rolls out of it, eats some big elbows, and Holloway is kind of saved by the bell here. People were like, this was really inaccurate ground and pound from Poirier at the end of the second round. I'm like, dude, those elbows were landing. And Holloway was kind of stunned and barely in there, in my opinion. The biggest moment of the third was Holloway landing another blitz. This, along with some consistent body work, should give him the round. Poirier had some solid jabs. I think he had a couple of combinations, but it didn't feel like he had as much as Holloway did in this third round. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, but the come down from the big second round carried into the first, I think there's something to be said about scoring momentum, not scoring the momentum of the fighters. That's not a criteria. But you as a person feeling the momentum of a fight and being swayed a little bit, right? So at the end of the second, it made me feel like Dustin was back in it. So it impacted my live score for the third round, if that makes any sense. The fourth round is interesting, and I'm not trying to be a contrarian, but I think that this is the best full round for Poirier, and I think it's actually the easiest round to score for him. I didn't get it on the live watch, but rewatching this, I'm like, Holloway didn't really have any good moments, any good combos. He had, again, the consistent body work, but Poirier had the bigger oohs and ahs moments. And not just oohs and ahs, but they actually landed. He got some good combinations going right. Still a very close round, though. Fifth round was clear for Holloway, but still pretty close. Poirier didn't do horrible, but he didn't do himself any favors with the last 10 seconds. Clinching up there is a bad look. Not blaming him, because Holloway's hand speed is ludicrous. 15 punches in 8 seconds before Poirier clinched up. But then maybe don't agree to it, you know? Live, I gave Poirier 2 and 3. On the rewatch, 4 I'm almost sure of. 2 is really iffy, and 3 is a no-go. That doesn't really show how close the fight was, though. 50-45 sounds bad and makes me want to have a knee-jerk reaction, but of those rounds, aside from the first, rounds 2 through 5 are all 60-40 rounds at most either way, or maybe 65-35, right? Both men were very much in the fight the whole time. A couple of exchanges either way in key moments could have changed the fight. You can kind of say that about any fight. But for a final performance, aside from getting the win, this is just about as good as a retirement gets. This was a perfect encapsulation of Poirier's entire career, willing to make some bad decisions for the sake of a firefight, biting down, having wars, still being in the fight despite having moments, coming back. If you didn't know anything about Poirier going in and you just watched this fight, if you watched Poirier's career in reverse order and you started here and worked back, you would still know who Poirier is based on this fight, right? It's not like this is completely unrecognizable from his earlier years or his prime. This wasn't peak prime, whatever word you want to use, Poirier, but this was the Poirier that had been built and crafted over his whole career, Moving forward, Max Holloway should rematch Charles Oliveira. That feels like very easy matchmaking to do. If you want to go a bit crazy, you could also do Holloway Hooker for the BMF belt. Hooker seems to fit that description. He's a crazy motherfucker. Dustin Poirier gets to enjoy his well-earned retirement, get tan, blast roids, the whole deal. Hopefully he still shows up for some broadcasts. He's done ESPN panels before. It's nice to see him around. I'll be candid, I'm not a huge fan of either guy. This wasn't as meaningful to me as it was to others, but I still have a very deep respect for Poirier and everything he's done. Poirier versus Hooker is my third favorite fight of all time. I revisit it around once a month. I will continue to do so. Poirier will live on forever, okay? Just because he didn't get the belt doesn't mean he's not a great fighter, doesn't mean he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I would argue he's there above some guys who just got the belt and then lost it immediately and then were relegated to nothingness, you know? Just because of the longevity. And not even just the longevity, but the longevity amongst the elite of the elite in the lightweight division is unparalleled. Even with champions, even with the greatest lightweights of all time, Makhachev, Oliveira, Conor, Pettis, RDA, Khabib, Alvarez. Those guys weren't around as long as Poirier. They weren't at the top as long as Poirier. Whew, gotta take a deep breath here. Paulo Costa is back. I thought he would make it competitive. I didn't think he was gonna get KO'd or TKO'd. He's pretty durable, but I didn't know if he would have the same snap. Costa doesn't really have power, but he has pop and explosivity, so he can kind of catch you off guard. First man to drop Roman Kopylov in the UFC. He has a pretty decent chin. Listen here, man. How do you not make Costa versus Allen after this? Two guys just outside the top 10. It'll probably be a fight night main event too. Why not? Fuck it. Sure, go for it. Why not? Costa 5 rounds. Yippee. Here we go. Kopylov can fight the loser of Shariput Magomedov and Marc-Andre Barrial. Guys that are just outside the top 15 of that middleweight division. D-Rod versus Kevin Holland was a train wreck. God, it was so bad. You're telling me these guys are ranked welterweights? I thought that this was supposedly the best division in the UFC. Better than bantamweight and featherweight and lightweight. Yeah, hell no, dude. It's always been mid. It will continue to be mid. D-Rod knocks Kevin down. Usually Kevin has an excellent chin that he can lean on. Before this fight, I would actually say that it's a top 10, maybe even top 5 chin in the UFC, but not anymore. D-Rod put an absolute ton of heat on that first shot that hurt Kevin. From there on, he would just touch Kevin and he'd go flying, JDM versus Randy Brown style, and he never fully recovered from that. Then Kevin Holland came back and knocked down D-Rod with a limp wrist uppercut. Seriously, weak-ass uppercut. Had him running all over the place. Such a weird fight. Even if you could make the argument for Kevin Holland winning 1 and 3, he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. D-Rod's an anomaly. He has wins over Ponzinibbio, Morono, and a robbery over Li Jingliang. Yeah. Real Li Jingliang fans never forget, but losses to Kelvin Gastelum, Ian Gary, and Neil Magny. And now a win over Holland puts him in a really weird spot where he's ranked, but he probably shouldn't be. You could give him the loser of Neil Prates, maybe, or if Joaquin Buckley wants an old guy to rebound with, he's very into that. This could work too. Dan Ige and Patricio Pitbull just eye-fucked each other for most of the fight, and then started throwing a little bit, rocking each other, and then they just stopped again. Just so lame that Ige can't turn it on when it matters. Patricio Pitbull struggles with everybody ranked above him. So I say, condemn him to the apex against Yusuf Zalal. Dan Ige can fight outside the rankings a little bit. Melky Costa and Nathaniel Wood, those top maybe 25, top 30 guys. Michael Johnson once again proved that he is the most unpredictable man in MMA. I thought that Zellhuber would get rocked, but still win 2 rounds. Michael Johnson's hand speed is still among the fastest at lightweight, and it gave Zellhuber issues. Kind of similar to Holloway Poirier, where Max Holloway's coming up, and his hand speed is just way better than the 155 guys, but down there it's kind of average. Same with Michael Johnson when he was at featherweight. He didn't have the hand speed advantage, so he kind of struggled. But then when he came back up to lightweight, he would still have these kinds of performances. Daniel Zellhuber was relegated to hanging out on the outside, throwing body kicks and head kicks to the arms for 3 rounds straight. Michael Johnson, in the year of our Lord 2025, is now on a 3-fight win streak. Someone else who's on a win streak right now is just outside the rankings, and I'm surprised that they haven't already fought each other. It's Nasrat Haqparast. Daniel Zellhuber can fight whoever, maybe Jai Herbert or something, but I don't really care. If you want to build him back up, you can do it, but Jai's a little step down, a little bit chinny, willing to kickbox with him, so could be cool. As is tradition, it's 1 sentence each. It's the prelim lightning round. Vinicius Oliveira threw every punch like Marge Simpson. Brendan Allen flexing the fact that his brother was here when Marvin's recently passed away is crazy. Both of these men were so yucky, but I think Prado was slightly less yucky. What are they putting in the water in Cameroon? Dulatov is as advertised. Jimmy Crute finally gets his first win since October of 2020. For Ryan Spann, the third time was the charm. Ferreira's slick jiu-jitsu comes in clutch once again, and Carly Judas won in a way that would make Reiner de Ritter proud. The card on paper was shit, and the early prelims over-delivered. The prelims kind of petered off, and then the main card stunk, and then the main event was really cool. Maybe even a fight of the year, maybe not. It was good. It wasn't that good. I went 6-8 on predictions, first time being in the negative in a while, and let me tell you, it feels bad. I'm gonna give UFC 318 6 Little Waynes out of 10. Let me know what you thought about Holloway, Poirier 3, and all of UFC 318 in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more MMA content. Shout out to Shauna, Proletarian Gothic, and Lambslayer for being vampiric enjoyers. Thank you all so much for watching. Never count the underdogs out, and have a good time.